Okay, so we've heated up our pan now, so we're gonna turn it down to medium heat, and we're gonna start cooking our tortilla. So we're gonna put that down. There's no cook spray. I repeat, no cook spray. Now, as you continue to cook your tortillas, the flour will start to build up inside of your skillet. So you wanna stop about after a few tortillas, and when the flour starts to build up, it'll start to burn and turn brown. And you're gonna think, what is that? Why is it turning brown? It's the flour cooking. So what you need to do about halfway through is you'll get a thick rag, or like not wet, but just a thick dry rag, or multiple layers of tortillas, and you're gonna wipe that extra flour into the sink. Okay, so about halfway through, while it's hot, but that's why you use a thick rag or folded paper towel so you don't burn yourself. And so you wanna do that, okay, so that you don't have all this burnt flour just sitting around in your skillet. Okay, another thing that somebody pointed out to me a minute ago that I forgot to mention earlier is that you want to, if you have a group of 5, you want to divide it into 15 just smaller tortillas so it divides evenly. Okay, so with the tortillas, you want to wait a little bit until it starts to cook. You start to feel on the other side that it's getting dry, and then you're like, okay, I know that it's starting to cook. And getting in there and stuff, and then you can flip it over and let it cook on the other side. Well, this is cooking right now. I'm going to prepare my cinnamon sugar by taking the cinnamon and putting it inside of the sugar, and I'm going to stir that up so it creates a nice cinnamony, sugary situation. And then I want to get a butter knife, which I forgot to get earlier, to spread. So grab one of those for my butter for when this is done, and I'll be able to spread it on. Okay, so you know the tortilla is pretty much done when the later ones will start to turn golden brown. Your first one might not. I usually just do a touch test to see if it's getting pretty dry, or let it brown, like let it start having little brown spots. So I'm gonna let this one cook a little bit longer, and I think I'm gonna have that be on a 6 instead of a 5 this time. Once it's done with the browning, you just spread the butter on, you sprinkle the cinnamon and sugar, and you can roll it up if you want, eat it that way, or however your group wants to do it, or you could just eat them plain if you don't like cinnamon sugar on there. So it'll take a little bit of time, especially the first tortilla. After the first tortilla, they'll go by quick, and you could get to the point where you might be burning them if you're not paying attention. But for the first tortilla, it always takes a little bit longer, so just be prepared that the recipe says like 30 seconds on each side, but the first tortilla is going to take you a little bit longer than that. It'll probably take you closer to a minute on each side, or maybe even a little bit longer, depending on how well the pan was heated up. That's just the way it is. But after you get the first one done, the rest of them will go by more quickly, and you might even need to turn the heat down if it starts burning your tortilla. You'll also see like little air pockets start to form in the tortilla, like you could see a texture forming. They're really small air pockets, not really very noticeable. There we go, there's some of the browning spots I was talking about earlier. And once it has some of those on both sides, it's like, okay, my tortilla is done, I'm ready to go. Okay, so if I was making the rest of that dough that I had right there, I would put this one over here and then put the next one on, and somebody could spread this with the butter and cinnamon sugar, or you could do them all at once. Okay, so I'm going to be using more of that skillet, so I'm going to leave it on. But if you had multiple people in your group, you'd have one person rolling, one person cooking, one person spreading, and you could divide those jobs up. So you could have that. So I'm just going to spread my butter on while it's nice and warm, and it gets really melty, and that's one of my favorite things, is the meltiness of the butter. And when it's warm, it just tastes really good. Then you're going to take that cinnamon and sugar, sprinkle it right on top like that, and you could eat it plain like that, or you could roll it up like this and eat it like this. All right, so that is the end of making the tortillas.